Now that signifies that somebody's about to start a party. Y'all know what we about to get into?
I like to be educated, but I'm so frustrated.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Music Mindset channel. Hey, I'm gonna keep it simple, man. We about to get into something that people have been talking about for years. A band that played some funk that wasn't supposed to play no funk. You know what I mean? We'll talk about it. Let's get into it. It's the mid-70s. Funk and disco are dominating the airwaves, especially in black clubs and inner city spots. Dance floors are live, bass lines are thick, and rhythm is king. But in the midst of all that groove, there was a rock band out of Ohio called Wild Cherry, just trying to survive and make it work in the music business. These guys were led by a dude named Rob Parissi, and they weren't strangers to hard work. Rob had grown up on everything from soul to rock to doo-wop. Hey man, his sound was a little bit of all of it. But by 1975, the gigs were drying up and the dream was fading fast. This little rock group out of Ohio had been grinding for years, playing bars, clubs, festivals, or anywhere that they would let them play. They went through lineup changes, a breakup, and a reunion, just trying to find that one sound that would stick. They were rockers at heart, but they had soul in their bones. Yet by 1975, they were about out of gas. Rob was thinking about quitting the music business altogether, maybe going into business with his brother. Wild Cherry had started as a hard rock cover band. But as disco took over, rock club gigs just dried up. Promoters wanted dance music, not rock. Parissi pushed to add funkier songs to their set list, but the band resisted. They didn't want to be labeled as a disco act. But then came one night and one disrespectful shout from a black lady in the crowd. I mean, they were booked to play at a club in Pittsburgh. The crowd, predominantly black folks. The energy, everybody's kind of dead and flat that night. And Wild Cherry tried to come in with their usual rock set, guitars, drums, high energy. These guys were still playing stuff from Kiss, Led Zeppelin, and Foghat. But the people on the dance floor, they weren't having it. They weren't moving. The groove was missing. The people were like, what's this crap? I can't dance to this. Disco was in charge of the scene now. So, while playing at the 2001 club on the north side of Pittsburgh, it was time for a break. That's when this lady shouted at the drummer as they walked off stage.
Play some funky music, white boy! Are y'all gonna play some funky music?
Insinuating that if they didn't, they probably wouldn't be working there much longer. Most folks might have laughed it off, but Rob Parissi didn't. That hit hard when the drummer told him backstage. He took it personally. So Parissi grabbed a pen and an order pad and wrote a special song in about 5 minutes. He had the first 2 verses and chorus written by the time they went back on stage, and he wrote the last verse in the car on the way home. If you're looking at the lyrics as you listen to the song, it literally describes the predicament of a hard rock band adjusting to the disco era.
It wasn't easy, changing rock and roll at mine.
So Rob went home that night and started building a song around that whole situation. He was thinking, what if we actually did that? Played some funky music, but how much did he really know about doing that on his own? Well, he thought about a funky song that was hot at the time by the Ohio Players. Yeah, you guessed it. Fire. Oh yeah, remember both bands were from Ohio, and Rob knew that fire was a definition of what he was looking for. That song had one of the funkiest intros ever laid down. So Rob listened to it and found some inspiration. He now knew what he had to do. He then slapped some wah-wah on his guitar and came up with a nasty groove that felt like the Ohio Players' jam. And that would become the iconic guitar and bass line you hear in the song. And on top of all of that, he had in the back of his mind what he had written on that bar slip, and then was ready to drop the hook like a hot mic. Play that funky music, white boy. Eureka, that's it. Time to record. Man, this song was actually a mixture of the Ohio Players' Fire, Stevie Wonder's Superstition, fused with a dash of Led Zeppelin's Grit from that song How Many More Times, and a whole lot of Eastern Ohio / Pittsburgh, PA white boy grease, so to speak.
Somebody turn around and shout it, play that funky music, white boy.
Now, after recording it, Rob took the song around to every record label he could, yet only to get close, but no deal. You see, everybody was worried about that white boy thing. Even his father took the needle off the record when he heard it and said, "Oh no, you can't do that, son. You have to take that out." But Rob refused to change it because he believed it would kill the song, so he would stick to his guns, turning that once criticized line into what would become a legendary hook. Luckily, the Cleveland-based Sweet City record label was willing to take the gamble, and the single was first released in April 1976 and basically distributed by Epic Records. Now here's the wild part. The Lady Wants Your Money was actually the A-side, and that was the song that they were really pushing at the time. But radio DJs always have an ear for what's real and fresh, so they were flipping it over and starting to spin the B-side. Now that thing caught on fire almost overnight.
I was a boogie singer, playing in a rockin'.
By the summer of 1976, Play That Funky Music had exploded. In September of 1976, it shot all the way to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Even more surprising, it topped the R&B charts too. Yeah, man, a white rock band topping the R&B chart, that was unheard of at the time. But that shows you how deep the groove was. It didn't care about any categories, but no matter what the song, what would a rock band be without a shredded up guitar solo? This song went platinum in just a few months, eventually selling over 2.5 million copies. It earned the band 2 Grammy nominations and put Wild Cherry on tour with the likes of Earth, Wind & Fire and the Commodores. Within the year, they were playing arenas. These boys ended up doing concerts with just about every major R&B act of the day. Brothers were eating this up. Wild Cherry was suddenly on the map in a way that they never expected. That one shout from the crowd had turned into a career-defining anthem. But like the fizz in a can of soda, the bubbles just died. Wild Cherry could never duplicate that success.
Yeah, my joke's always been if I knew how big that song was going to be, I would have stayed up that night, wrote 700 more songs.
Yeah, for sure. Yet they did try to release more records, even tried to chase that same funky formula again, but none of it hit quite the same. The band had quietly called it a wrap. But Rob Parissi, he didn't stop. He moved into writing, producing, and eventually settled into recording smooth jazz and adult contemporary music. In 2025, yeah, he's still around, living in Florida, somewhere around the Tampa area, and turning 75. Still creating, still getting paid every time that song hits a speaker somewhere. And Brian Bassett, the band's guitarist, he went on to join Foghat and Molly Hatchet and kept on touring. He's still out there, shredding on the road in his early 70s. But the drummer Ron Beadle, he passed away back in 2017. But his beat lives on. That kick was funky. And the rest of the guys, they just kind of drifted into other projects. Studio work, production, you name it. Wild Cherry may have gone separate ways, but they all carried a piece of that moment with them. Play That Funky Music showed up in movies, commercials, sporting events, everywhere. Kids in the 80s danced to it, DJs in the 90s sampled it, and folks in 2025, 49 years later, still nod their heads when that first riff drops. Man, this never stopped being a party anthem, and it never will. Now, Old Vanilla Ice released a version of Play That Funky Music in 1989, but without permission from Rob. That led to a lawsuit and a $500,000 payout to Parissi. Call it a one-hit wonder if you want to, but it still represents that one night when a crowd asked for something real and the band delivered. Hey, Mindset family, Play That Funky Music had everything. Funky guitar licks, funky keys, tight drums, a mean bass line, horns hitting, and that cowbell keeping the groove alive. The vocals and the chants had some attitude, like they were all in on the joke. And that hook,
Somebody turn around and shout it, play that funky music, white boy.
straight up unforgettable. put the song on anywhere and watch the people jump up. Play that funky music, white boy. Man, I hope that don't offend you. It don't offend me, because I've been to many a party where that song came on and everybody was jumping around. I tell you what, that's a classic song. That's a classic group. Too bad they only made one like it, but we'll keep it for what it is. Hey, thanks for checking us out. I'm going to see you next time on the Music Mindset channel.